I was diagnosed with cancer. I worked all the way through cancer except for surgery.
How did you make the decision that you wanted to go all in on the school and the farm?
AI, it will be the beginning of the end of civilization if it is not monitored, policed, regulated accordingly. Corporate's evil, period.
Do you have an ultimate goal for what you want your life to look like?
I'm living my dream. My dad always said, all you have is your word and your name. Everything else can be taken from you. Power is only perceived. There is no such thing as power. Trust your gut. Do it scared.
Welcome back to 101 Ways Out. I'm your host, Vanessa Juppy. We often talk about exit strategies as just financial plans or finding a new job, but sometimes the best strategy is to completely change your ecosystem. My guest today, Lauren Tarpley, is the definition of a corporate survivor. She navigated strict parental expectations, climbed the ladder in tech support and sales, and delivered results. While battling cancer, Lauren's dedication was met with a shocking lack of humanity. Specifically, a boss who referred to her chemotherapy treatments as a vacation. Lauren realized that the only sustainable business strategy worth fighting for was her own family. She decided to stop climbing the corporate ladder and start building her own world. Today, she's gone from managing clients to managing a micro school and a farm sanctuary. But don't let the goats fool you. Lauren is still that high-achieving strategist. On this podcast, we talk about the danger of corporate loyalty, the reality of doing it scared, and why building a legacy is harder but better than building a career. Make sure you stick around until the very end because I have a breaking update on what Lauren is doing since we last recorded this episode. And it proves that retirement is not the right word for what she's been up to. Well, I am so excited to be here with Lauren Tarpley today for our 101 Ways Out conversation. After an impressive and successful career in tech and customer success, she has gone through some incredible pivots. She's survived breast cancer. She's navigated motherhood on IVF. And she ultimately left corporate to start a family farm and a micro nature school, which I'm really excited to get into and hear more about. So let's talk about how Lauren has gone off the traditional path and onto her more authentic journey. Lauren, why don't you share with us? We'll just get started with, where are you on your life journey at this moment in time?
Because I am in this space now where I am manifesting everything I say, I am only probably about 35% through my journey because I am going to live to be 113. That is my goal. That is my goal. Other than that, where are we? We are today, I'm literally heading out to the farm later and finishing the greenhouse for the winter, moving some stuff in there. I'll go ahead and move my pepper plants in there. They're very fragile. Probably move the peach trees in there today because I do have an orchard that I am growing in grow bags first before I put them in the ground. So we're going to do that for a couple of years so we can move them in and out of the greenhouse. But yeah, I'll just be headed to the farm today. And then it's a lot of one-on-one time with our lead teacher because we are curating our own curriculum and enhancing it with some ag in the classroom that we got from our state farm bureau because we'll study our local flora and fauna. So that's going to be my day, hanging out at the farm, hanging out with animals, hanging out with a teacher. And then she and I will kind of talk to my son for a little bit and all that jazz, teach him a little bit. But every day is crazy. Every day is different. And it's amazing. Yesterday, if you had asked me what I was doing today, I wouldn't have known. And I woke up to 4 hatchlings. So I woke up to 4 new chicks. And so that drastically changed my morning. And I could not eat eggs yesterday morning. So there's little things like that. But yeah.
That's amazing. That sounds like such a different world. I'm so excited to hear how you got to where you are now. And the micro school piece is something that I had never heard of until literally 2 weeks ago. So someone else that I know is evaluating whether that's a path they want to go on. So they're talking to the people that kind of help set that stuff up and everything. And so she's really interested. So I was super excited when I saw that you were doing a micro school. And I was great.
That's
I get to learn about this and share that with her. Maybe I can connect you guys.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning when you were a little kid. What was your upbringing like and what was your family like?
Well, I was born on a Saturday, which means that I love to party. I was also born at night, so put those things together. I was born on a Saturday night at 9/31 October. My birthday is in 17 days. I'm very excited. I'll be
Oh.
40 in
Oh,
17 days.
wow. It's a
Yeah,
big year.
it's a
It's a big
big one.
birthday.
My childhood. That's so funny. A lot of people don't really ask me. They don't ask me, they ask me my origin story, and most of the time that starts at like cancer diagnosis. But my origin story is, I think it's fun. Like I had the best childhood ever. Like I remember I was actually talking about this yesterday. I would get to spend like summers at my grandparents' farms. I am a third generation urban homesteader. So that was really fun. Like I'm taking my kids to a livestock auction this weekend. I used to do that with my grandfather. Like he bought me a baby goat just because I asked and because he lived on a farm and he didn't care. I was like, I want that goat. And he like let me
Oh.
race the paddle, and like that's insane. Like just those memories. I mean, I think I was 8 and I will
Oh,
never
wow.
forget that. I grew up here in Charleston. I grew up doing tap and jazz, and I was an avid swimmer. I swam all the way through high school. I did all the things. God, I even tried to wrestle. Like I tried to get on the football team. Like it was just
Nice.
like insane stuff. Like I've always just been this like super odd. I mean, like I don't want to say odd because like those aspirations aren't odd, but my parents have always taught me like if you want to do it, then do it and use your whole ass. Like that's just it. Like put your whole ass into it. And that's it. And I think those words are really just what reverb. I mean, if I get
Yeah.
if I get a wild hair, most of the time now I run it by my husband because I'm like, how crazy is this? Is it like Lauren crazy, or is it like I need to like call someone. We need an emergency therapy appointment. Like she cannot go base jumping tomorrow. But yeah, like it was just really, really cool. Like my parents are still together. Like that's odd. They've been together for over 40 years. And yeah, like my dad was home every night for dinner. We ate dinner every night together, regardless if I had swim practice or my sister had golf. My sister is like a really good golfer, almost got to like junior LPGA, like just stuff like that. And so we really were just raised to care about what we were doing,
Yeah.
and just like have intention with everything. And I think intention and integrity and GAF, like caring,
Yeah.
will take you a really long way.
Yeah,
And so that's
absolutely.
just what I was raised. My dad always said, all you have is your word and your name. That's it. Everything else can be taken from you. That's a really weird thing to say to like a 9-year-old, but it stuck with me. And so, yeah, that's my childhood. Just, swimming my little tail off, just in the water all the time, helping my dad. We always lived in like HOAs. So we had as big of a garden as we could. And because both of my parents grew up on farms, I was not allowed to have animals. So like
Oh.
thing I was allowed to have was like fish and a rabbit outside. And that was it. Like one, not two. That was it. And that was a really big thing for both my sister and I because we always wanted a dog. Like I remember I made
Oh, yeah.
a PowerPoint on why I should get a dog like for 4 Christmases straight. I've got rip away pages. I've got like, poster board, and I'm like, all right, point 2, like the exercise, the dopamine. My parents were like, absolutely not. I do not care. But yeah, that was my childhood. And then
What
I
did your
did
parents do? What did your parents do for a living?
my dad is an engineer, and my mom, she has her degree, which is incredible, in home economics and English. So she's like the most well-spoken cross stitcher and baker in the world. And I think that's awesome. She wanted to do like fashion merchandising, but like they didn't have that at her college or whatever. And so then she did home ec and then like went into that, but she like ended up being a buyer for like a department store. Like they just have these
Oh.
really cool like coming of age stories. And like my dad went to graduate school, and then they like wrote each other letters and then got married like right after that. Just like they met in college, but then got married like right after grad school. And yeah, like just like
That's
really
sweet.
normal stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had these like 2 firecracker daughters, which God bless them. Like I don't know.
That's amazing.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. It's so sweet. So you talked about, obviously like going after things, really interesting sports experiences, loving farming, loving animals. What other experiences do you feel like really shaped you as a child and helped you become who you are now?
I honestly think it's the parenting. My parents were strict, and now being a parent, I super appreciate that. But 5 years ago, I could have been like, death to her. Like, it's still like, you didn't let me go out for my 16th birthday. Like, okay, I'm fine. Did you die? No. But yeah, they were strict and very disciplined. But I think that with the upbringing that they had and the education that they sought, that was not forced on them. Like my parents had to seek out their education. I think that's why it was like you need discipline in your life to achieve the things that you're seeing now, to have a comfortable, to have a fortunate upbringing. You need to work for it. And that's what they kind of drove home. So it was like a lot of, I know you don't want to, and we all have to do things we don't want to do the things we want to. Period. It was a lot of you'll want it before it wants you on plates of food. It was, you know what I mean? Which is not so bad. I mean, that because that just teaches consequences. That teaches cause and effect. If you don't want to eat this pot roast today, cool. Like when we got started, I said, if you like it, I love it. Like I got that from my parents. Like you'll want it before it wants you. I said it the other day and I was like out of body. Gross. Like, you know,
Yes.
like I am Linda. Oh my gosh. So yeah, just stuff like that. I think it was really just, and I'm not sure how many people of color you've interviewed about their upbringing, but it is a very common trope and it's not a monolith, but you know, people of color do need to do a little bit more to get a little further to be considered comparable. I'll just say that. And I'm not bitter or anything like that. I also think, you know, a lot of that came from a lot of people don't think about time in real time, right? So we have had to think about time lately with our current administration. My mom was not born with the right to get a bank account on her own. My mom was born in 1960, right? Like as a woman, not even a woman of color.
Right.
Like, my parents are from, like, I was born in Raleigh and we moved here. And it, like, if anybody's listening from Charleston, like, I have my Charleston card because I have been here since Hugo, right? Like, that's the storm that rocked Charleston. It's like the one that rocked Asheville, and they're still the same, right? Like, it was a Cat 5 in the 80s, like, insane. But I've been here that long. So I don't think people realize how long ago something was, right? So
Agreed.
I'm going to be 40 this month. And so to me, it is the year 2000. And the 70s were 30 years ago. And the 80s were 20 years ago. And I'm just a little baby. Like I'm 25 years old, right? So that for me, like that's my norm. It's the year 2000 because that's when everybody's brains broke. Like, oh, the world didn't shut down? Okay. Computers didn't explode? Okay. And so like, I feel like I'm in a state of arrested development. I'm just a little 25-year-old sex pot little baby. I don't know how I have a 6-year-old and a husband and a mortgage and bills and why I have to figure out dinner because I would like to go party tonight. But I will tell you at 7 o'clock when my knees start clicking, I do not want to go party at 7 o'clock.
It stops. Yeah.
But my parents are from North Carolina and, you know, they went to school in the same city as the lunch counter riots, right? Like in Greensboro, North Carolina. My parents grew up in segregated schools. Like people do not think about that if you are not from the South, if you are not 40, if your parents are not 65. My parents are 65. That's not old.
Yeah. It's not. No, it's
My
not.
in-laws are almost 80. That's a little, but that's still not old anymore. Like, you know what I mean? We get some pacemakers.
You're so right.
We're good.
It's crazy. I agree with you. And I was like, I mean, when I was growing up, of course, as a kid, you know, you read something that happened in the 1960s or 70s, you're like, oh my God. And I was born in 1980, you know, and you're like, oh my God, that was so long ago. Oh my gosh, you know. And then you realize, like, given the current administration and everything you're talking about, I'm like, no, it's not. My mom and dad my mom was born in 1949. My dad was born in 1950. And I'm like, they lived through segregation and integration. Like, to me, that feels like a million years ago, but it wasn't.
They're
you know?
babies of people who went through the Depression.
Yeah,
That's
no, that's
crazy. Like,
insane.
and okay, so first off, my mother-in-law is probably like one of my best friends. I have like 3 friends. I think the older you get, like my husband has told me, the older you get, like every birthday, you can just pretty much chop off a friend. Like, and not even in a bad.
Oh,
It's just like everyone gets so busy, more stuff gets put on your plate. We'll talk about my animals, but like if I do count every single one, I have 50,000 animals because I have worms and bees. But you can knock off a friend every year just because everyone has something else added to their plate. But I think that, I mean, this is all full circle, just to go back to answer your question on how I was raised. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that, you hear the term Black excellence, right? And so, like, that's what we in my family have strived to be. I think that's what everyone strives to be until they get knocked down,
yes.
or
Yeah.
oppressed, or boot stomped so many times that they just don't have the bandwidth for anything anymore.
And so it's like, I can't take it. I gotta give up.
Like right now, all I have the bandwidth is to breathe and eat and feed my kids. And I will wake up tomorrow, like in 2 wake ups, 2 go to sleeps and 2 wake ups, like I'll be better. But yeah, it's just, it's a lot to think about. And so being born and raised in the South and where we are now, it's honestly inevitable. I don't like to be that person. I mean, I am in an interracial relationship. I'm in an interracial marriage. I have interracial children. I have an interracial family. Like my uncle is married to a woman of Asian descent. And we have, like we're from North Carolina. That's a lot of Native American that we have in our family as well. And it's beautiful. And what's unfortunate for them is that like sometimes they don't get to celebrate all of their heritage because sometimes when you're in these sundown towns, if anyone knows what that means, you're one drop. It's the 3/5, right? And so I'm not going to go back in history and, there's no white shame here. Like, no, there's no white guilt. But, again, I'm raised by people who literally were raised in segregation. And so that was instilled in them from the time they went to school and from the time that they were integrated. My parents did not go to integrated school. They integrated in the middle of elementary school. That is wild.
Yeah, that is.
And what kids learn at home, they bring to school and they stay. And so my parents have, not warned me, but made sure that I was aware. And things have definitely changed in the last 20, 30, 50 years. But I feel like we're kind of regressing a little bit today, and it's rough. I mean, I know that I take my kids to 2 Santas. We go to a white Santa and we go to a black Santa, and no one has asked me why. They're just like, oh, 2 Santas? It's like the response from a 4-year-old when you're like, your parents are getting divorced. And they're like, 2 Christmases? Like, no. Like, yeah. So I will say, like, race does not rule my life. But it has taken a front seat lately in the media. And I am not one to keep my mouth shut. And I am not one to be complicit. If it were back in the day and I had the means and if I was not a person who needed help, I would have been someone helping on the Underground Railroad. If it were the 1930s, you better believe. You better believe. And I mean yesterday, today, and tomorrow, you better believe I'm an ally. And I don't care who you are, what you got, what your platform is. Unless you are hurting someone else, I am here to help you. I feed my neighbors. I feed people I don't know. I sell my eggs, and one girl was like, oh my gosh, I don't have $5. And I was like, okay, take your eggs. Are you hungry? Is your family hungry? The humility to say, oh man, I don't have a 5 on me. That's more impressive than them being like, I'll buy all your eggs right now. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I sell my local organic eggs for $5. I match the store price for their cheapest eggs because this is community. And so again, I think that's just a testament to the integrity that I was raised with. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot. I think if you like go back and try to like psychoanalyze your parents and like look at their journey, you'll really understand them a lot better. And I took a lot of my 30s that, especially during the pandemic and especially during the cancer diagnosis. I really needed to understand like why my parents were reacting the way that they were to the diagnosis, to my treatment, to me. And I just took it all the way back to their childhood and My cousin was actually working on like a genealogy project at the same time, and we learned a lot.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And so that I say, if you care enough about your relationships, or if you feel if something is strained or that you don't understand someone in your family, and you can either ask them directly or go roundabout and figure it out, it's going to put you in like such a great place with that person. It's going to help your relationships a lot better because you just have to lead with integrity and empathy, honestly.
What expectations do you feel like your parents had for you growing up?
See, that's a really, actually, I think I've done so much introspection, if that's even the right word. I make up words. So
No,
if
you're
I
right.
make up a
Introspection.
word- if I make up a word, I'm going to ask anyone who's listening. And because it's me, I feel like it's going to be like 3 whole people. Anyone who's listening to my 3 hold them downs and you, Vanessa. I think my parents just wanted me to be happy and successful. I genuinely just think back to the 90s.
Yeah.
What a good time.
Really, it
The
was.
90s were such a good time, girl. Like, oh my God, sure, there's always war. It wasn't, no, I don't want to say that. It's so insensitive. There's always war. That sucks. We had the Bushes, whatever. They weren't that bad. And then,
they weren't.
like things
was
were
okay.
great. The internet was, I mean, like the AOL dial-up. Ugh, if I could just get that sound back. They just did away with that sound. That made me very sad.
Did you
But,
hear it this week? My husband was playing it for us.
I did. I downloaded it. I need it in my life. It's on my external hard drive. I need to have that with me at end of days. I just need that to be blasting in my ears as I meet Jeebus. But growing up, I honestly think they just wanted me to be happy and successful. And I mean that across the board. Like happy in a relationship, successful in a relationship, happy in my life, successful in my life. And that doesn't mean money. And they taught me that early on. Money does not bring happiness. And what I've learned most recently is you cannot make anyone do anything. Power is only perceived. There is no such thing as power.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as control. There's no such thing as absolute. There's no such thing as always or never. And so I think when people realize those 5 truths, I think you'll be a lot happier because you're going to exhale. There's going to be air that jumps off your back and you'll be like, oh my God, I don't weigh 400 pounds. But I just think they really wanted me to be happy. Now, having said that, I am the eldest daughter. I am a recovering people pleaser. I am a recovering perfectionist. And when I say recovering, that's because after you have pooped yourself while you are potty training your child, that supersedes pooping on the birthing table. And you will be humbled beyond anything. And I have done that twice. So I had a conversation with my dad. I remember it's like the first lunch I ever recall having with my dad solo. And I was like a sophomore in college. And I was like, I need help. And he was like, I already paid your tuition. Leave me alone. And I'm like, no, I need help. Like, what should I be? And he was like, Lauren. And I was like, what should my job be? Like, do you want me to be an engineer like you, or should I? And my mom went back to do HR because my parents have been business owners since 1993. They have worked together and owned a company together since 1993. Insane. So I was like, should I pursue HR? And my dad's like, you need to do what you want to do. And to that, I say sure, that sounds like it's this great thing. And oh my God, autonomy. Yeah. Don't give me autonomy at 19. Give me autonomy at 12. Make me figure out what I want to do. Now,
wait, hold on. I want to hear more about that. Wait, tell me why that is your reaction. Why
I was
why at 12?
disappointed that he didn't name a career.
Well, you said not at 19, give it to me at 12. Did you feel like there was something that you needed to kind of explore more when you were a kid, or you didn't have enough autonomy?
I had no autonomy.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was raised by boomers. You are to be seen and not heard. There are rooms you don't go in. And again, this might be an African American trope, but you got a white couch in the living room. We don't go in the formal living room. There's a white couch in there. Why are we sitting on a white couch? And my parents were, raised by people born during the Depression, so they had a white couch covered in plastic, and that was a sign of the times. You were doing it, baby. And so we did get to sit on that couch covered in plastic, but things like that, when I say my parents were strict, fine, that's cool. I really wasn't allowed to go to a lot of sleepovers. That is something that started in our time that was on the decline, and I didn't get the memo because I'm a child. I didn't know about child predators. I didn't know that other people's dads do things to other people's daughters, right? And my parents did. So when I say strict, like things like that, and I was mad at them because I wasn't allowed to like stay the night over at Stacy's or whoever or whatever. But what I didn't know at the time is they had contacted my parents and told them I wasn't welcome to stay.
Oh, no.
Because of my skin color. So I was allowed to come over and hang out. I was not allowed to stay the night.
And your parents were trying to protect you by not sharing all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
And so then, just being so strict about making good grades, like that is something that should be important to a parent. And it was extremely important to my parents because that's how they got out of farm life, right? That's how they like got to do what they wanted to do. They grew up on a farm. They didn't want to just do that immediately, right? And so when I say like, hey, Dad, what should I be? They had told me like, I was, again, eldest daughter, people pleaser. So straight A's, young astronauts, gifted and talented. I was the liaison to the superintendent for my elementary school for 4 years. Because they were like, she won't stop talking. So why don't we give her something to talk to the superintendent about? And so again, I was excelling and I was doing well at all things. When I was 6, I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to go into the Marines because my uncle and his whole family are all military. My cousin and his wife both went to West Point. Again, when I say Black excellence, like my family is very in tune with that and really just want every opportunity that we are allowed to have because our parents didn't grow up with opportunities or laws or just, not as many as we have.
Right. Absolutely.
And so when you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to go into the Marines and then I was going to go into JAG and then I wanted to be a military attorney and then I wanted to be a judge because I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice and then I wanted to be the president. From the time I was 6 to the time I was 16, I hadn't changed my mind and I went into college as pre-law. But when I sat down with my dad to have that conversation, I was like, I'm telling you, I hate reading and I can't read any more of these freaking law briefs. Like it's nothing but memorizing but the cases that, came before, like whatever the word is, again, the chemo brain, but the precedents and things like that. Oh my God, all the memory. And I didn't want to do it. And I changed my major like 20 times. And so I'm like, man, I get some guidance. And my dad's like, I can't tell you what you want. We don't want anything specific for you. My parents did not tell me to be an engineer. Your mom's parents did not tell her to get a degree in English. They probably didn't even know like what the heck you could do with that, like other than be an English teacher, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's that, again, and I talk so much and I'll get off topic. I'll wrap that up. And like, that's what I mean with that. I didn't have a lot of autonomy growing up as a child.
Yep, that makes sense.
I always wanted to be older. I always just wanted to grow up immediately. My parents identified that and were like, go ride your bike. Like I was always outside. I would paint my nails outside. And then my sister and I would do roller derby on our roller skate. So like I wasn't like an inside wallflower, but my parents were like, you don't have to read the encyclopedia today. Like I taught myself sign language through like a set of encyclopedias that my mom actually gave me for Christmas for the school last year. But like I taught myself sign language, like the alphabet.
So you're just like always achieving, always trying to achieve and just excel and
right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go through how did you figure out what you did want to major in? You graduated from college and then talk to me a little bit about your career and your career transitions, because ultimately the next conversation is all about why you decided to leave corporate. So let's hear a little bit about that backstory.
You know that moment when you realize that you can't keep living the way that you've been living? You've probably heard several of my guests talk about that already. If that resonates with you and you're feeling like you're in that moment, you're in luck. I've created a 30-day program that's going to help you become unstuck, reconnect with your joy, reconnect with yourself, and reconnect with your values. We're going to work together to figure out your next step, your vision, and your path forward. This is an invitation for you to live the life of your dreams that truly lights you up. Visit 101waysout.com to get started.
Well, I mean, corporate's evil, period. No. So I did the Van Wilder plan. Don't get it twisted. Like we can talk about Black excellence all day, but if you don't know yourself And I did not invest in myself or mental health. Like, who's talking about mental health in 12th grade in 2003? Like, no one. It wasn't at the forefront. So I went to college and then college and then college and then college and then college. And I started pre-law and then I went radiology. That was like super interesting and I'm still interested, but then I didn't know that you had to like diagnose cancers. Like I thought it was just like broken bones and studying casts, but I was out of that. And then I went economics because I wanted to like control money. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be an investment banker. And so I was like, money. And I was like, an economics degree would help me do that. And then I was like, this sucks because I'm really bad at algebra. But I was really good at like geometry and problem stats, and I'm really good at like and stuff. So I just found my strengths, and I ended up going back to just general business, but I ended up with a focus on e-commerce. I took a whole class on Amazon. I took a whole class on eBay. It was literally like eBay 101. And I'm saying this because it's like 2007. Like, so it was like studying what they were doing and how they were like revolutionizing, like shopping online and things like that. It infatuated me. And then after that, I ended up going to work with my parents at their company. So I was working in logistics and I was working.
What's your parents' company? What do they do?
We have closed it down. And my dad, again, being an overachiever, is now a general contractor. But it was pre-production parts for like Chevrolet and General Motors. And so they were parts that would supplement the engine or fuel lines or air intake valve lines. So they were either like rubber coatings or things like that. Just like these things you see inside of a car that you're like, what the hell is that?
Gotta come from somewhere.
Weird parts that would like keep engines from overheating and like awesome stuff like that. But I was in charge of international logistics. So I was like really a big part of like NAFTA and a lot like UPS freight, like just learning all the freight lines, calculating like how much empty space is in a shipping container. Like, I mean, stuff that I did not learn in college. Like, that's why, like, oh my God, like you're not going to teach me every job you get. You have a core set of knowledge and then they teach you how they want you to learn it. So anyways, that was intro to corporate for me, but I was like working with mommy and daddy, which is also kind of harder because it's their company, it's their reputation, and I can't come into work hungover with my parents. That's not that. So then, General Motors, layoffs, furloughs, that affects the subsidiary companies and like people who feed into that too. And so then I would bartend whenever I was like, we didn't have work to do or we didn't have any orders. And then I just fell in love with that. So then I had done food and bev like through college a little bit, but then I just went full-time bartending for a little bit. And then I moved to Vegas.
What?
Yes. I got a hair. Told you. Wild hair. I'm a wild card. I had been working for a liquor company because the liquor rep came into the bar. I was bartending. They're like, you know a lot about the liquors. I'm like, well, I have to sell them back here and I have to tell people why they should drink Pearl vodka over Burdett's, for example. And they're like, that's very important. Have you ever thought about being a liquor rep? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. And they're like, you just do what I do. And then you get paid to like come in here and eat and drink and like drink your liquor. And I was like, yes. So then they hired me and I was a liquor rep. And then I got fired because I was way too young for that job because I was just drinking and then like missing my 8 a.m. meetings. I got fired. And because I was embarrassed, I moved to Vegas because I knew how to bartend and I got a job in a day. I had some friends in Vegas that were from South Carolina. And I got a job in a day bartending on the Strip. I was there for 6 months. And then I came back to real life. And that's when I was like, okay. And I sat myself down and I was like, playtime is over. You're 28. Like, I'll show you where we are in the timeline. You're 28. Goop your life together, put it in your backpack and figure it out. And I did. So I was like, where am I not going to get like laid off? The government never.
Yeah. Oh.
We're going to shut down right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I applied at my county government to be a marriage license clerk.
What?
And I got the job because it paid $30,000 a year. When you go get marriage licenses or when you go file for a divorce or when you go to probation or whatever, you need to be nice to those people. They're making like right now, even now, 10 years later, they're making 40K.
Yeah.
You need to be nice to those people. That's why I had an attitude. It wasn't a good fit. It wasn't a good fit. Plus, I saw a few people quite a few times. People not taking marriage seriously. So then I was like, okay, where will I not have to talk to people?
Yeah.
Won't shut down. Tech. Awesome.
Yes.
So then I got a job in tech. And so I have answered your question and gotten you there, but I needed to tell you the journey. Vegas was a blast. Living there is insane. There are slot machines in the grocery stores. I'm from South Carolina where you can't buy liquor after 7 and liquor stores are closed on Sundays. They sell liquor in the grocery store 24/7.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
There's slot machines and gambling tables in the airport. It is everything that I am composed of. Vegas is me and I am Vegas. I still hold the biggest part in my heart for Vegas. It spit me out like a sci-fi movie. Like it was like, ugh, she's gross. I don't even want to eat her. The alien, like, not my flavor. It rejected me hard. So got back here, had to move back in with my parents. So fun. Then I met my husband on Match.com and I started dating him. I got my life together, got a job in tech, and that's where I started. And I started at the bottom. I started in customer support. I had to learn multiple products, back end and front end user experience, things like that. So important. And then I went to success, and then I just kept climbing and climbing and learning because as we've seen, my foundation is just, I like to acquire as much information as possible. When I speak, which is a lot and fast, I like to know what I'm talking about. I don't just be a loud, ignorant jerk. I just want to be a loud jerk. So that's that. So I changed companies. I started at a local tech company. It was great. And I will say that's where I learned about corporate social responsibility. That is where my heart will always lie. I literally, and I'll show you because it's right here, I have a degree from Harvard Business School online in sustainable business strategy. So that's where this first tech company where I got in, they were huge on corporate social responsibility. I mean, affinity groups so that everyone felt welcome and belonged. It's kind of juvenile, but like pizza parties once a month. Oh, there was a beer cart that came around at 3:00 on Fridays. If you wanted to be remote, again, this is 10 years ago, I was remote 3 times a week. And then when the pandemic hit, I ended up going full-time remote. But what I did was, again, I started in support. I worked my way up to 6+, and then I kind of created my own position where I would work 6+ because I had an affinity for learning the back end and then learning what the end user should experience and then creating documentation to bridge that gap.
That's great.
So what I was doing ISO and TS certification audits. So those are like safety audits, like for General Motors, and like that's what like Boeing uses. That's a good example. But anyways, that's the standard they use. And so I was taught that. And so when that's your first professional job, like that's how I look at everything. It's like, where's the document retention? Like, what is the revision change? Does this make sense? Can someone walk in off the street, read the instructions and be able to do this job? Because that's what documentation is on a job description or your responsibilities. And so anytime that technology company acquired another company, I was always begging to like be in that war room or on that team, that acquisition team, or like getting the other employees like acclimated or welcomed or things like that. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. And I know we'll circle back to that, but I worked all the way through cancer except surgery. So I worked all the way through chemo. I brought photos of like me and my laptop in the chemo suite. I'm the only one like on a laptop while I've got Real Housewives blasting in this year. And I'm just like typing documentation in this year. And I didn't take my disability until I had to have my double mastectomy. And then I went back. I thank God I started radiation so quickly that I was still on my short term. So I was able to finish my treatment and I went back. And when I went back, there would be little things that people would say, and they're like, you just got back from a vacation.
Wow.
And to that I say DA space FUQ. Because what do you mean? Chemo, 6 rounds of chemo, 13 rounds of immunotherapy, 25 rounds of radiation, a double mastectomy that turned into staph and MRSA, and 11 surgeries. I say to that, how is that a vacation?
I can't believe people actually said that to you.
At the hospital, I VIP status at the hospital. That's not a vacation. So just like those are microaggressions that do not align with corporate social responsibility. And I will say it was a certain like huddle of people. It was not the company. I will never put that on the company, but it was people that I directly reported to. So I started looking for a new job immediately, and I found one at a startup. And I know that
I'm sorry, but you're going through like the worst possible experience of your life.
At 34 years old, mind you. I had a 2% chance of being diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that somebody could say that is a vacation. Like I, having been in corporate and having had colleagues that have gone through, cancer treatments, and not everyone survives. I mean, I've worked with colleagues that did not survive. Never, ever, ever in my life when I considering that a vacation. That is like a horrifying experience that someone has to go through.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite stunned.
I wasn't even like asking for time off. Like it was just something so random. I was like, oh man, like, who's in charge of this? Or like, who's doing this? If you want me to do it. Like, we were just like in a little staff meeting. Like, I think my team was like 20 people. And I was like, who's doing this? Who's doing this? Like, let's make sure like we are figuring out our group project, which is our life and our life's work and the work we do to live. And they're like, well, you just got back from vacation. And I was like, cool. You've been put on mute because Zoom has very awesome features. And that's just when I started looking for a new job, because also this company, while they were great, the thing is, the better a company treats you most of the time is in lieu of the compensation you should be receiving. It's like a verbal tip when you're a waiter. You've been great. You anticipated all of our needs. Baby girl, hold on. Let me get my change purse. Here's $1. Here's a quarter. Here's a dime. And honestly, if a grandma pulled out a change purse, I'm like, I am obsessed with you. You do not have to give me money. That is cute. But like I've had people like leave money on the table and then they're like, oh, I needed sweet tea. That's $1 gone. And I picked up all the money and I'm like, you can have it all back. I will continue to wait on you. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with how you thought it was okay to talk to me. So I don't want anything from you other than for you to enjoy your meal and pay your bill and never come back. Thank you so much. And I was lucky to find a startup. And I know that people hear these buzzwords like startup and unicorn status and tech and disruptor and oh my God, just plug your ears. Like buzz. Oh my God. I went to South by one year. Oh my God. It was so incredible. It was right before I moved to Vegas, because what I did was I bought all these one-way flights on Southwest. I'll find the picture and I'll send it to you.
Yes, please.
And I pinpointed all of my stops, and I did a cross-country trip by myself. So anyways, I found a new company. I found a startup, and startups are amazing. They're also volatile. They're also a huge, huge risk. This startup was incredible. They had created a product in corporate social responsibility to help bridge the gap of like water cooler talk. So I found a company that was actually creating a product in the corporate social responsibility space. I couldn't have been better suited for it. They agreed. I loved them, still love them. In 2023, when things were getting really weird and like that Silicon Valley Bank collapse, that really had a lot of ripples in tech, the company shut down. So I had already started working on the school during COVID, and with all the time I had by myself, because I had to go to all of my doctor appointments by myself, treatment by myself. I could have no visitors because I was diagnosed September of 2020. The vaccine didn't even come out until March of 2021. So I had to do everything alone and like on Zoom with my husband, because I can't take all that in. I can't take all that in. My best friend, who is a doctor, she was like writing things down. Like it was like the four of us on a Zoom. And then I'm in the room with the doctor because I'm like, I can't be held responsible for what I missed.
Right.
But yeah, so working there was incredible. Like we got to take quarterly offsites. We went to these incredible locations. The team was cool. The whole company was 14 people. Like, so I went from a company of like 40,000 and an international 40,000 person tech company to like a 14 person tech company that was also international. And it was all the autonomy I'd ever wanted in a job. It was all the autonomy I'd ever wanted in my life. Like they're asking me like, hey, what do you think about the product? What should it do next? I'm like, who, me? You're asking me? That's amazing. Yes, I think it should do this. And they were like, that's actually a really good idea. Like crazy stuff like that. So back to COVID. I had a lot of time by myself and Chip was only 17 months when I was diagnosed. And I had an idea and I was like, well, what the hell are the kids gonna do? Like the kids are never gonna be the same. Like I was thinking about that. I was like, the kids really they're not gonna be the same. Like they're missing like 2 years of in-person school. Like you have to think about each kid in a vacuum. Like what does that do for a first grader? Because now they've never been to school and then they're expected to just show up to third grade and know what they were supposed to know. Like we don't know if your parents were working from home at the same time while you're doing virtual school. That's insane. So high schoolers, people who had to graduate virtually, we don't know if they know what they need to know to go out in the world with an endemic that's still happening. Like that's crazy. So I had thought about this like maybe hybrid, but like a bespoke private school online where it was challenging, but it was very small classes, like 4 and 5 kids. And I think virtually, no matter where you are, like 4 and 5 kids would work, right? Like I was like, okay. So that's like back in like 2021. I'm like, literally, I was going to call it like Bespoke Academy and all this other crap. And Trey was like, take a seat. You're still in immunotherapy. Your eyebrows haven't grown back, bro. And I was like, you're right. And then did the startup, blah, blah, blah. I had started. Oh my gosh, there's so many in that time. There's so many things that you and I are going to talk about. But in that time, that was like when we were doing the IVF, and then I got, then I ended up getting pregnant, and I started working on the school because I was like, look, in all of this, we built a house.
Okay, that was a busy time period in your life.
Okay, August of 2022, I got a new job. I got a new job at that dream company. Literally, it was my dream job. And then in May, we started building this house that we're in now. And then in October, we moved. And then I went to go like tour all the schools around here to see where I wanted Chip to go to school. We moved into a live, work, play neighborhood, right? So there's restaurants and you just ride your golf cart everywhere. And I just love the idea of like taking my kid to school in a golf cart because I used to get bullied on the bus and just whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I go up to the school and I'm pregnant and I'm excited. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here to tour the school. And they're like, please leave. And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, we don't do that. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, but my kids, I want my kid to start K4 here. And they're like, they killed that program. Like that's a private program. We don't do K4. And honestly, just let you know, kindergarten is not mandated in South Carolina. Excuse me? So she said that because they were over allocated. And she's like, so if your kid doesn't get in, it's not a big deal. Like it's not even legal that they have to go to kindergarten. But also you're not zoned for this school. You're zoned for the school on the other side of the neighborhood. And I was like, wait, what? That school was built in 1982.
Oh, wow.
Why am I not zoned for the school that's in the neighborhood? So I said, hold my boba. And right then and there, I started the idea for the school. November 2022. So we're going. It is April. It's April 2024. And we had been working on the school. We had found a place. It didn't work. We canceled the contract. Thank God we got our our earnest money back. And I found the perfect piece of land. And it's like 5 minutes from our house, 5 minutes from this huge neighborhood. There's like 75,000 houses in this neighborhood. So that's clientele, right? Bought the land, log into work. I'm laid off.
Is this the dream company still?
Yeah. I'm laid off because they had to close.
They had to shut down.
It had never, I'll tell you, I've been fired from a lot of jobs. I already told you about my nasty little attitude. I've been fired from a lot of jobs. And honestly, I was like, I'm not getting fired. They're like, no, and you're getting severance and we'll continue your health insurance through the end of the year. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Cool. That's really nice. You know, again, that corporate social responsibility, like taking responsibility, just knowing that it didn't work out. I mean, our CEO apologized. Like, who does that? Incredible man. He was like, I took you on this journey. You guys trusted me and I'm going to do everything I can to make it right. Just give me some time. Like, you know what I mean? Just whatever. And it is what it is. But now I've just closed on 6 acres. That has mortgage. And what am I going to do? But I already had the plan for the school. So not a problem. I just kept on going. And now I was like, well, now I can devote 24 hours to it. And then that kind of leads us to where we are. So I'll stop because we skipped over cancer and IVF and the baby and all that other stuff. But then I got you to where we've acquired the farm. So I will let you tell me where you would like to go next.
I think that to me, like the part that is really interesting, I think will be interesting for folks that are listening is how did you make the decision that you wanted to go all in on the school and the farm? Knowing like what made you know that's the right path versus going back into some sort of corporate job or trying to get that dream job back somewhere else? Like, how did you know that it was the time to do that?
AI.
Oh, really? Say more about that.
Yeah. Oh, I will say all the things all the time. AI is a great tool. It is not a good replacement.
Yeah.
Period. So when AI came out to get everyone to buy in, and I mean just the public, I'm not saying I have any kind of inside nothing. I am no one. So this is just stuff that anyone can Google, anyone can look up. Look up the godfather and the grandfather of AI. They both worked at Google. And one of the guys was working on it while he worked at Google, right? And he was like, this is an extremely dangerous tool and it will be the beginning of the end of civilization if it is not monitored, policed, regulated accordingly. In tech, we were assured, and this is by podcasts, this is by people just coming on, like people from Google, people from Microsoft, people from everywhere saying, this is not going to replace your job. Do not worry. This is going to help your job. This is going to help you. This is going to streamline things. And we all ate it up like it was chocolate pudding. And it was not chocolate pudding. They have since created CRMs and programs that replace all customer support, a lot of customer success. What AI has done is what you have now is like one person that controls the AI, and then the AI controls the book of business. So there's one person to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to by the analytics that it gives you, or the CRM gives you. And where that's dangerous for someone who doesn't know anything about tech is when AI, or let's just say robots that are run by artificial intelligence, become sentient, which you have seen the videos. And if you don't, I will give you a handful of things to Google in a second. Well, once they become sentient, they start to try to teach themselves on how to reprogram themselves. Like the Terminator. Like, guys, it's literally 1984. It's either 1984 from George Orwell, or it's 1984 where the Terminator came out. You can pick one. We're literally living both of them simultaneously, and that was never supposed to happen. You cannot call anywhere without getting AI first. You can't go to Taco Bell without AI asking you if you want a Baja Mountain Dew blast. And then when I say no, because I value my colon, I am then met with, then what do you want? Because it's a person who's getting paid less because they had to pay for this expensive robot that gets half of the stuff right. It's crazy. So AI happened, and I'm not going to lie, we were using AI in our product and in a very small capacity. It was closed circuit. It was very responsible and governed. And just because we didn't really need it, what we were doing was using a tool for people to facilitate interpersonal relationships. We weren't replacing that with robotic relationships. And so that's where we are. When that happened and I was laid off and I was looking for another job to bridge the gap, because I mean, I bought a raw piece of land, still no infrastructure, no water, no internet, no sewer, nothing. And it was going to take a bit and it's going to take a lot of money. I'd already been saving for 3 years, my husband and I, saving everything. And we also were already changing the way we lived because of COVID. I had started my little victory gardens, and that's what got me through chemo, was gardening with my son. Just fun stuff like that. So I had already had my gardens. I had my topsy-turvies. I was like, doing a little cheating. But then as we saw AI grow and start replacing things, and the things I was hearing in my interviews and the way that tech companies were saying that they were operating now was concerning. And I'd already had the idea for the school, and I wanted it to be an outside nature school. I hadn't decided I wanted it to be micro because we weren't there yet. But what I did decide was to make it an academy of agriculture and technology, because that's what I know. That juxtaposition of ag and tech is literally the culmination of my life, in sprinkling a little bourbon. Like, other than that, that's been my whole life. It's been going to my grandparents' farm. It's been making cakes from scratch. I'm a dork. I collect like cake plates and cookie jars. I love them. And I bake on them during the holidays, and I fill every single one up. I've been doing that since I've been collecting those probably about 15 years. I've quite a bit. But just to think of a world where children are just essentially being institutionalized. They're in a cinder block building, the school shootings that just are increasing. I couldn't put my kids in that. I was pregnant, and I was like, absolutely not with this little miracle, triple rainbow miracle baby girl, and not with my baby boy. Chip is my best friend. I'm actually about to bring him in here. I'll bring him in here at the end of the thing. He's my best friend. And I was like, absolutely not. So anyway, that's just how I am. But yeah, the AI is what took it out of me. Also, tech job interviews are gross. Oh my God. It's like, what animal would you be? What's your favorite book? I write books. I honestly don't like reading. I like reading children's books to my children, but I like reading first person real life stuff. Like, I can't get down with fiction because like I can't characters' names. Like, if I tried to read Bridgerton, like I would probably just use it for kindling and like make tea. Like, I would just be so lost. I would be like, who did what? I thought they were married. Oh my God, who's the servant? What's a chamber pot? Like, I would be so lost. Tech job interviews are like a month long.
Yeah, it's true.
Moments and like PowerPoints, like what some guy like made me do this whole case study and like what I would do to retain a customer. And I'm like, I have 20 years of customer service. I would retain a customer. I cannot do this part of your job for you because you're acting like you're interviewing me.
Yeah.
And 6 months looking for a job until I was just like, let me just focus on these animals and my kids. Chip also had a security incident. It's just what I'm going to call it. In his K4 class, which was at a private school.
Yeah.
And so the person who verbally accosted him got to stay, and he went out. And that's when I decided, I mean, thank God I was already in the middle of the school, but I was like, there's nothing. So then that's when I made it at my first school. But I just think that the world we live in right now is a juxtaposition between people who are leaning really hard into tech or leaning really hard into traditional roles and like things that we used to do and the way we used to do them. And that's not an argument. Life is compromise. Nothing is a monolith. No one ever or always does anything. And so just take a step back. Again, a Coke, a smile, talk to Jeebus, talk to Sky Daddy, and like honestly, like chill out and it'll be okay. But I just thought that teaching intentional technology and teaching the marriage between like agriculture and technology and seeing where it's going and introducing children to different occupations other than influencer,
Yeah.
professional athlete. Let's talk math there. Half of 1% of the world becomes a professional athlete. A quarter of those are women that get paid less than government employees, county government employees. They have to have second jobs to play in the WNBA. That's disgusting.
It is. It really is.
So that's where the idea for the school came from. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. I don't think that you need to just like focus in on one thing. Kids are sponges. Give them a bunch of stuff. They will tell you what they're interested in. And then that's the amount of autonomy they need to find a love for school and education. Because once it's broken or severed, it is very hard to get back. And once you demotivate a child, you've lost them.
So where are you with the school now? And what is your goal for the school?
Right now, we are about 80% through construction. We are tapping into the water main today. We're planting it's a bioswale. It's like a water retention thing. And because there's wetlands on there and we have like a nature walk all through the 6 acres. So we're
cool.
planting the plants like in the water bioswale to retain the wetlands on the property. But most of the animals are already out there. So the bees are out there. The worms are with me. They're actually behind me. The incubators are behind. Oh, those are the potting tables that are going in the greenhouse today. My office is just a staging area. But yeah, the bees, all the stacks of bees are out there. All the worm gardens are in here with me. They're like magpies. You should not feed them after midnight. They can only eat certain things. They can't eat rotten food. They can only eat rotting food. They have to be kept at like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like, wow, bro. But they're awesome and they're very helpful on like breaking down compost and stuff. We have over 80 birds, and I'll say birds because we have peacocks, turkeys, pheasants, guineas, and we have over 13 breeds of chickens.
Oh, wow.
But they're not all on one farm. So like my sister also has her farm, and then we also have a family farm. So I run an egg business that supports the nonprofit that supports the school. And so we are actually already selling eggs and honey. So I do have to go to 3 different farms to get our farm fresh eggs every day, but I sell out almost every day because they're rainbow colored. I'll have to send you pictures.
That's great.
But yeah, so that's the whole thing behind leaving tech and why I just made it clean cut, because they're not in a place to receive right now. And I'm not in a place to receive what they're giving right now.
Yeah.
Because
that's fair.
Everything they've said thus far has not been true.
Yeah.
And
it feels like that time period where that's generally happening.
Yeah. So what I would like to do is just arm the children with the information they need to survive, like how to boil water, how to plant a seed, how to nurture that, what nitrogen fertilizer means, or a potassium fertilizer, like we make banana water, right? You eat a banana, you put it in water, you let it get soggy, you water a plant, and then that's the worm's food. Boom. Like no trash, right? Like no crumbs left, as the children
That's amazing.
say. So yeah, that's that.
Do you have an ultimate goal for what you want your life to look like?
What an awesome question. I will say, and I will say first off, I do want to talk about the books. I have written like 7 books. There's 2 adult books. There's Type A Guide to Cancer and Type A Guide to Survivorship. Survivorship is a totally different animal than cancer. Cancer helps you get through the diagnosis and just like keep your bearings and not lose your mind. And Type Guide to Survivorship is like, girl, I know your brain is broken. Let's fix it together. And I'm very honest about everything in the books. I'm also writing another book now about turning 40 and not knowing what the hell I'm doing because everyone is faking it. Everyone is faking it. No one knows what we're doing. What do I want my life to look like? I said this yesterday. I am elated with 97% of my life. And I think that's fair. I'm a mom. I don't get a lot of time to myself because I homeschool and because I'm like clinging to my child. It's almost like a codependency situation, but I'm pretty much living it.
That's great.
Like almost like I'm like holding back tears in this search for self that I've been on. I have discovered the concept of ikigai, which is like, do you know about ikigai?
No.
It's amazing. It also goes along with like the blue zones. So the concept of ikigai it's a triangular concept and it is out of Japan. And it's usually for anyone's second act. So once you retire, you find your life's purpose. It's something that you're good at, something that brings you joy, something that also can sustain you, so brings in money and is good for your surroundings, your community, your family, things like that. I have found my ikigai. My ikigai is supporting my community. My ikigai is speaking out for AYA cancer patients. My ikigai is speaking out what Black women do need to be protected because we are not heard, listened to, or believed when we speak. And again, nothing is in a vacuum and nothing is a monolith. So again, please just take these words as my experience. But we do need a little more protection. I do think things have shifted, and I think that it is now a lot of all women of color need protection, especially my Native American sisters and people of Latin and Hispanic descent. We need protection. We need allies, and we need people who. And the thing is like, I get it. It's exhausting. And especially when you don't think that it applies to you, but right now it applies to all women. I don't know why women have 51 different sets of rights because I am including Puerto Rico because shout out Boricua. But like why we have 51 different sets of rights and men have one that is across the board. And that does not mean I'm a man here. I love my husband. He's also one of my only 3 friends. But we need protection and we really just need to come together and think about things for 5 more seconds before we react. But when I think about what I want my life to look like, I want to be surrounded by love. I want to be surrounded by people who hear me and see me and support me and keep me in line. I don't want yes men. I don't want enablers. I like feeling a day's work. I like feeling. I like being sore. I like seeing my animals grow. I love watching them grow. I love watching my children grow. I love watching my daughter, who's 2, that was afraid of a chicken last week, grab it and is like, does he need his shot? And I'm like, that's only for the baby. There's eggs. Be careful. Please don't stash them together. But I'm living my dream. And that's 97% of the time. And I think that's fair. The other 3%, I'm just a woman. And I'm just a woman with a lot of scars physically and mentally. And I'm really just trying to figure out mental health.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm honestly living, unless you could put a little farmhouse on that 6 acres so I wouldn't even have to drive 5 minutes. I'm honestly living it. And that's essentially being unemployed. Like, because we're opening the school like in January, right? So
that's awesome.
Being broke is a joke. It's all right. Like, we'll make it. Like my husband says, you can make more money. I can't make another you. And so it's health. That is wealth.
Yeah.
It is giving my kids perspective that, like, I love that my kid doesn't know like what a tablet is. My kids don't know, like at my kid's T-ball game the other day, this mom was like, hey, Josiah, is that your PE teacher? And Chip was like, what's PE? Like, I think that's hilarious because I'm like, well, it's physical education. And he goes, oh, like when we do yoga. And I'm like, yes, we do that. But
I love that.
That's just so funny. And he's like a little alien. But yes, to answer your question, this is pretty much it. I'm surrounded by my best friends. I don't have to censor myself because I am real loud about politics on the media. I'm probably on a list, but whatever.
I know,
And,
same.
but I'm living it. I'll have to make some pivots and it will change and it'll morph, and that's fine. But I just want to stay on the right side. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I want to stay on the right side of history. I want to be on the right side of right. I want to be on the right side of human rights. I want, when people speak of me, I want to be alive. I don't want it to be like a eulogy, but I want people to recall that I was kind in any instance or situation, and that they felt the empathy and not sympathy. I do not sympathize. I will always empathize. I'm in it with you.
If people want to find out more about you, learn more about your school, learn more about your books, what's the best way for them to do that?
So it's Type A Guide to Cancer on everything. It's all spelled out, very long, super convenient. And other than that, the pharmacy is the Farmacy CHS, and it's FARMACY because food is medicine. And touching dirt and touching grass literally is medicine. It releases serotonin and dopamine. So listen to this podcast laying in your backyard. Literally, it will change your brain. And other than that, you can check me out on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or Walmart or Target. My books are in all those stores. That is such a blessing. Most of them are children's books. And lately I've, steered into the ag stuff, but it's teaching kids about where our food comes from so that when you ask them where steak comes from, they don't say Outback. I got that answer from a high schooler last week, which is not embarrassing. Like, we just talked about it. And I'm like, that is 100% correct. There are other places too. And let's talk about that. But yeah. And then anyone, if you have any questions about writing a book, I will Zoom with anyone and tell you my experience and like what you can and can't do, should and shouldn't do. And you should never have to pay to write a book. Just know that when those people call you, just hang up. And also, when it comes to IVF, like, I really just like to give people hope. It only takes one egg. I don't care how many they got from you. One of my girlfriends only got 3 eggs. It was their 3rd time and it ended up in twins. And then she had a daughter naturally after that. I did IVF after cancer. It failed. And I had Lucy naturally after that. So IVF is not insurance. It is a very helpful tool. It's amazing. It's a godsend. But if it doesn't work for you on the 1st, 4th, 10th time, honestly, like, when you remove it from your mind, it might just work. And if not, have the tenacity of 10-year-old Lauren playing roller derby with her sister and knocking her out because she was only 6. So just don't give up. The patriarchy is cannibalistic. So don't worry about it. I don't know if this is like a feminist heavy thing. And I'm just a feminist in a way that I support women. I'm a feminist in a way that I don't think men should tell us what to do at all.
Yeah.
Or especially with my body parts. And that's just that. I hope that sounded as Southern as I tried to make it sound. But bless your heart if you do that. And I think that you should think that in your own home. And people say I don't sound like I'm from South Carolina, but it just takes a couple of bourbons and then we're good.
I know. I'm like, I love it. I love it. Yeah, you come across very clear, but every now and then, like, you throw it out there. I love it.
Especially when I'm like really passionate about something. Like, I know you did. Like, I know not. Like, just insanity. But like I said, I definitely just wanted to touch on those parts. Like, please don't give up. Just don't give up on anything. I understand we are all low on bandwidth. We are all low on bandwidth. Pour into yourself. Pour into people that are pouring into you. Make sure you know your boundaries. Don't let anyone cross them. And trust your gut.
Yeah.
Period.
I love it. That's great.
That my sign off is do it scared. I'm terrified. I have to go brush a goat today with horns. Thank you for having me, and I will come back anytime you want me.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope you are feeling as inspired as I am to do it scared. But before you go, I have an update on what Lauren's been up to. Unsurprisingly, she's not slowing down. Since we recorded, Lauren has officially taken over her community's farmers market. She told me that this aligns perfectly with the mission of her micro school, but in true Lauren fashion, she isn't just maintaining the status quo. She is tripling the event dates. She calls it a big lift, but a total labor of love. I think this is the perfect example of what happens when you take your corporate skills, the ability to organize, strategize, and execute, and apply them to something that feeds your soul. As always, thank you for listening to 101 Ways Out. I'll see you next week, and until then, go rewrite the rules.